Have you ever wondered why things fall down instead of floating away? Imagine tossing an apple in the air. Instead of drifting into the sky, it comes back to you, kissing the earth beneath your feet. It's a scenario we all take for granted. But why is it that way? Why does the apple not wander off into the clouds? Is it some kind of invisible force pulling it? Or is it a mysterious spell that Mother Nature casts? It's not magic, it's gravity. Gravity, in simple terms, is a force of attraction that exists between any two masses, any two bodies, any two particles. It's like a cosmic glue that holds everything together, from the smallest speck of dust to the mightiest of stars. And while it might seem like a complex concept, it's actually quite straightforward when you break it down. Imagine you're holding two apples. Now, according to the laws of gravity, these apples aren't just sitting there in your hands. They're actually pulling on each other with a tiny, tiny force. This force is so minuscule, you wouldn't even notice it. But it's there, always. Now, you might be wondering why these apples aren't crashing into each other if they're pulling on each other. Well, that's because the force of gravity is incredibly weak compared to other forces. It's also because there are other forces at play, like the force of your hands holding the apples apart. But let's scale things up a bit. Imagine one of those apples is the Earth, and the other is the Moon. The Earth, being much larger and having much more mass, pulls on the Moon with a much stronger force. This pull is what keeps the Moon in orbit around the Earth. The same principle applies to all objects in the universe. Every object pulls on every other object. The greater the mass, the stronger the pull. That's why the Earth pulls us towards it with such a strong force. It's not because the Earth is particularly fond of us, but because it's so much larger than we are. And this force isn't just one way. We pull on the Earth just as much as it pulls on us. But because we are so much smaller, our pull doesn't have much of an effect. So, gravity is the invisible force that governs the universe. It's what keeps the planets in their orbits, the stars in their galaxies, and us on the ground. It's everywhere and it affects everything. So gravity is what keeps our feet on the ground and the planets in orbit. But gravity doesn't just keep things from floating away, it shapes our entire universe. Let's start by looking closer to home. Our planet, Earth, is held in a constant dance around the Sun thanks to gravity. This celestial waltz, also known as an orbit, isn't unique to our solar system. Across the universe, gravity orchestrates the movements of planets around stars, moons around planets, and even stars around the centers of galaxies. Now, imagine standing on a beach, watching the ebb and flow of the tide. This too is a result of gravity, specifically the gravitational pull of the Moon on Earth's oceans. The Moon's gravity tugs at the water, causing high and low tides. Venturing further out into the cosmos, gravity even has the power to bend light. Yes, light. This phenomenon, known as gravitational lensing, makes it possible for us to observe distant galaxies that would otherwise be obscured by closer objects. And speaking of galaxies, gravity is the master architect behind their formation. It pulls together clouds of dust and gas to form stars, which then cluster to create galaxies. Even the very shape and structure of these galaxies are determined by gravity. All these planets, stars, and galaxies we see, and the cosmic dance they perform, the rise and fall of tides, the bending of light, it's all because of gravity. Without gravity, the universe as we know it wouldn't exist. So, to sum it all up, gravity is this incredible, omnipresent force that weaves the fabric of our universe together. It's a force of attraction that exists between any two masses, any two bodies, any two particles. It's the reason why, when you jump, you come back down. It's the reason why the Earth orbits the Sun, and why galaxies cluster together in the vast expanse of space. Gravity is something we feel and experience every moment of our lives. It keeps us grounded, literally and figuratively, shaping our perceptions and experiences. It's an essential part of the cosmic dance that shapes the universe and everything in it. And remember, gravity doesn't discriminate. It pulls on everything with the same force. It's not just about pulling us down, it's about keeping everything in place in this vast, ever-expanding universe. Next time you drop something, remember, it's not clumsiness. It's just gravity doing its job.